Oh, ooh. Now this is interesting. 10 places in India that are haunted yet beautiful to visit. I'm down for that. I mean, I may get a spirit inside of me, but I can just void it later. It'll go into one of my animals. Yeah, because that's why Hispanics keep animals around. To if one of the animals perish, I'm not talking about my boy here. He's gonna live forever. But yeah, they take the place of us. If animal perishes, then it saved a loved one. I mean, that's why my abuela always had birds in the house. Ton of birds, a lot of birds. And my dad just likes birds, so he keeps a few, mainly chickens.
Abandoned places and ghost towns की कहानियाँ सुनने में तो अच्छी लगती है, लेकिन क्या ये सच होती है? Well, no one knows. But what we know is that these places are beyond beautiful and so much has gone into its construction.
Oof, I love it when things are like created and it's like no clue really why it was done or how it was done or what purpose it served. It's just there. I mean, that India's been around for a long period of time and their culture has remained rich. Most other places can't say as much, like the Aztecs, Mayans, the either became integrated with other cultures or completely eradicated in some cases, where they no longer have a history, and the things that they learned, which we still are discovering to this day, how they did certain things, is just mind-blowing. I love things where it's like you realize the intellect that people had back in the day, but there was no World Wide Web, so certain little groups discovered it for their own communities. Because heck, in the Americas there were those, but then you still had like the Native American tribes, which would hunt and eat each other. It's just the way it was. They would keep all the information closed in with themselves.
भानगढ़ फोर्ट इंडिया का सबसे हॉन्टेड प्लेस माना जाता है और अपने रूइंस के लिए काफी वेल नोन है। इस फोर्ट से रिलेटेड काफी डरावनी कहानियां हैं, जिसमें से एक ये है कि भानगढ़ की प्रिंसेस रत्नावती was known to be very beautiful. Legend states that a black magician of the town fell in love with the princess. एक कॉस्मेटिक पर जादू करके उसने ये प्रिंसेस को दिया जो सस्पिशियस थी, and so she tried pouring the cosmetic on a stone. The stone happened to crush the magician because of the spell cast on it, but before he died, he cursed the fort. And ever since, no soul has been able to live here peacefully. ये फोर्ट भानगढ़ टाउन के हिल साइड पर सिचुएटेड है, लेकिन the fort is also spellbindingly beautiful. यहाँ अलग-अलग तरह की हवेली और
Is it if someone can live there for a year, can they claim the palace?
धनुषकोडी को गोस्ट टाउन के नाम से बुलाया जाता है, और ये इसलिए क्योंकि ये 55 इयर्स पहले एक साइक्लोन से डिस्ट्रॉय हो चुका था और तब से ये अबैंडन्ड है. Today, apart from the 50-60 odd fishermen और कुछ local shopkeepers, यहाँ और कोई नहीं रहता. और इनका मानना है कि साइक्लोन के दौरान जो लोग मर गए थे, आज भी their spirits inhabit this place. लेकिन धनुषकोडी के बीचेस, पंबन ब्रिज और यहाँ की ruins are some of the most beautiful creations you'll see. अंडमान का काफी फेमस आइलैंड होते हुए रॉस आइलैंड was abandoned in 1945. The ruins of these old buildings made by Indian prisoners are still present at Ross, covered in thick roots of peepal trees that take us back to an era. और ये भी माना जाता है कि 1700 में यहाँ का सेटलमेंट हाई मोर्टेलिटी रेट की वजह से वाइप आउट हो चुका था, जिसके बाद यहाँ बस कुछ हॉस्पिटल्स और फिर एक मेंटल असाइलम रह गया था. इन लोगों के गोस्ट्स आज भी इस आइलैंड को हॉन्ट करते हैं, ये यहाँ के आसपास रहने वालों का मानना है. लेकिन यहाँ की मैग्निफिसेंट केव्स, पुराने चर्च और हिस्ट्री का एक यूनिक ही वाइब है.
I mean, that's like a show in the making right there.
एक वक्त पर मुगल एम्पायर का कैपिटल हुआ करता था. इस इंपीरियल कॉम्प्लेक्स को 1585 में अबैंडन कर दिया गया था वाटर सप्लाई की कमी होने की वजह से, और फिर ये कैपिटल प्रेजेंट डे लाहौर में रिलोकेट हो गया था. ये आज भी मुगल आर्किटेक्चर का काफी प्रिजर्व्ड कलेक्शन है, और यहाँ का बुलंद दरवाजा, पंचमहल और जोधाबाई का पैलेस आर वर्थ अ विजिट टू एंटर हिस्ट्री. ये मिस्ट्री लेक 100 से भी ज्यादा ह्यूमन स्केलेटन्स के लिए फेमस है. कुछ रिसर्चर्स ने पता किया है कि ये उन ईस्टर्न मेडिटेरेनियन लोगों के स्केलेटन्स हैं जो 220 साल पहले हिमालयाज गए थे. And some DNA tests on the skeletons revealed that they belong to different groups of people. It may be a scary sight at first, लेकिन ये जगह उतनी ही खूबसूरत है. It's full of alpine meadows and snow-capped mountains. Situated at over 5,000 meters above sea level, today Roopkund Lake is famous for trekking.
Yeah, it was probably back in the day a safe place for them to bunker, but then they'd freeze.
हेमावती रिवर के पास बना ये चर्च आज कर्नाटका में बस एक abandoned place है. लेकिन built by French missionaries in 1860s, this church is a gorgeous example of Gothic style architecture. And the fact कि ये मानसून के वक्त पानी में submerged रहता है makes it special and beautiful. यहाँ काफी सारे लोग wedding photoshoots के लिए भी जाते हैं.
I like the fact that it was like half of it was submerged.
Right next to Qutub Minar is another archaeological site and that's the Jamali Kamali Mosque. इस मॉस्क की काफी सारी हॉन्टिंग कहानियां हैं, जिनमें से एक ये है कि यहाँ आज भी जिन रहते हैं. लेकिन अंदर जाने पर आपको दिखेगा कि the arches are beautifully adorned. The walls and nooks of the mosque are inscribed with verses of the Quran. It's a must-visit place. संजय गांधी नेशनल पार्क एक बायोस्फीयर रिजर्व और ट्रेकिंग साइट है, लेकिन मुंबई का एक हॉन्टेड प्लेस भी. It's not abandoned, but many people have reported seeing a hazy shadow gradually vanishing in air, और कई forest guards ने भी इसे रिपोर्ट किया है. The park is still one of the most visited parks because of its popularity and beauty, which just doesn't change.
Haunted how? Because it doesn't sound like a hostile kind of haunting. It sounds like someone who's just remaining. Spirit that remains. Nothing wrong with those.
Constructed by Peshwa Bajirao, this fort has suffered many military attacks and it even went up in flames in 1828. ये फोर्ट फिलहाल abandoned तो नहीं, लेकिन यहाँ पर लोगों ने काफी पैरानॉर्मल एक्टिविटीज रिपोर्ट की है. लेकिन अगर आप हिस्ट्री को मानकर चलो तो इट्स अ ग्रेट प्लेस टू विजिट टू टिक ऑफ योर हिस्ट्री ट्रैवल प्लेसेस. आफ्टर ऑल, इस जमाने में किसे फ्रीली एक पैलेस में चलने मिलता है. The Kakatiyas ruled Andhra Pradesh in the 13th century and built the Golconda Fort. लोग मानते हैं कि यहाँ की रानी तारामती आज भी इस फोर्ट को हॉन्ट करती है. After her death, along with her husband, who are buried in the fort. लेकिन आज ये फोर्ट एक टूरिस्ट साइट है and it's a great example of brilliant engineering and architecture. 5:30 के बाद इस फोर्ट में जाना मना है and ऐसा आप रात को यहाँ लाइट शो के लिए जा रहे हो. Well, we hope we've tickled your wanderlust with our video more than having scared you. Folklore तो सुनते रहेंगे, लेकिन nothing can take away the beauty from our amazing India.
Some locations sounded interesting. Others just sound like, oh, it's a tourist location. Let's just add it to the list because it's like they're having a light show. I thought this place was haunted. What? Why add a light show there? But yeah. I mean, some of those I'd like to go and visit, see the mystical for myself, see the paranormal. Because you don't get any rinkety old buildings here. Everything's, well, some of those were fairly recent, but still, it was just like there's something about the old that is something so beautiful about it. The history that it holds. Something like that builds paranoia even in and of itself. Like you'll hear creaking, you'll see a shadow move, and immediately your mind will play tricks on you because it's ancient. Yeah, there's history behind it. Heck, you see a shack that was built 30 years ago here in the US. The whole thing's leaning over, probably was burned at some period of time, and you'll see kids just joking around trying to push it over because, well, there's no story, there's no tale, there's nothing serious about it. There's no big deal. Who knows? Maybe someone was burned alive in that shed, but who knows? Here it's just like there's no history to it. Push it over. Yeah, no experience there. I just made that up on the spot. Yeah. Oh, yeah. But that's the thing. It's just like there's something about things that have lasted the test of time. It's because we're so used to things dying on us. I mean, what is it? The Apple created the what's the concept called? The built-in obsolescence, where things are designed to fail. Everything is built with a date in mind for it to fail. That way, you have to get it replaced. So when we go and see these marvels that have been up for hundreds, thousands of years, for us who are so used to seeing things get destroyed on us so easily, especially like smartphones and the better technology, because they're designed to become obsolete. It's very mystical. It's like, oh, how is this possible? This was thousands of years ago. Well, then again, our parents always say that back in the day, what was that always, that's the phrase? Back in the day, this would always last. Back in the day, you could use the same thing over and over. Back in the day. There is truth to that. Back in the day, things were built to last.